Steve. Coming through pretty crisp.
Oh, yeah, well, we'll just get on with it, eh?
It sounds like it. Look, I know that you're a pretty handy footballer yourself, Steve, but it's fair to say that your coaching career's probably surpassed the standards you might have got to as a player. And look, I know you analyse this stuff, and I'm sure when you were watching that docu, you probably found yourself thinking with the coach's hat on a lot of the time. But when did you realise that you kind of had that mentality and just the way of thinking that you might be able to manage people? Did you always know through your playing days, or really was it when you started coaching club footy and then through the ranks that you realised you had a knack for it?
I don't know if you ever realise it. I think it's just something that you do because that's how you operate. You know, you have a choice in life to go in different directions, but it's always your choice. But what gives you the choice is your own experiences. And as a player, you know, I was fortunate to have some wonderful coaches, very, very, very good coaches. But I was also fortunate to have some very poor ones. And out of that, if you're flexible enough to want to learn, you can learn from them as well as the good ones, and you learn what not to do. I wasn't a great rugby player. I was handy enough to be able to play back in those days provincial rugby, but I wasn't top drawer. But that was also an advantage to me too, because a lot of the time I was being either dropped or being left out of the squad because they couldn't put more people into it, and they only carried squads back in those days of 21, and I'd always seem to be the 22nd guy. So I'd be getting dropped from the A team down to the B team, and I was a really passionate young rugby player. I wanted to be an All Black, and not having that success of selection knocked you around a lot, and how people dealt with you in those times. Some of them were good and some were poor, but I took that with me when I went into coaching. How would I want to be treated? How would I want to receive this message if I was a player? And a lot of the times, you would change how you deliver it, and after a while, you develop the habit of doing it with empathy and as best you could and as honest as you could, because you didn't want to be mucking around. If I was the player back in my day, I got told, a couple of things that totally weren't the truth. So that stayed with me when I gave messages to players. I wanted them to be able to know that, okay, I might not agree with what Steve's telling me, but at least it's how he feels, and it's the truth from his point of view.
Authenticity. You've got a very calm demeanour, much like Chris Waller. Have you had any decent blow-ups either in the changing rooms or maybe the lounge when you've missed a 3-leg multi?
I tend to get a lot more emotional in the racing than I do with the footy.
Yeah.
Because you don't have so much control with it. And the other area I probably get a little bit more emotional is around the kids, because because they are kids and you are emotional because there's got a lot invested in it. So they'll tell you I probably don't listen as good to them as I do the rugby boys. But I think, the big difference with the rugby guys are that you're in there every day and it's what you do for a job. It's not, yes, you're attached to it, but it's not life and death stuff. If you can understand, it's important, of course it is, and you what are you doing it for? You're doing it because, you love it. You're doing it because you want to help people be better. And you're doing it well, then you get the opportunity to win. And, I'm a pretty competitive person. So there's been times when I've let rip in the changing shed, but very rarely, because I find that doesn't really solve much. At half time, if you're not going any good, it's about finding solutions as opposed to telling them they're not going any good. These guys are pretty smart operators. They know that they're making mistakes. They don't need me to tell them. What they need me to do is assist them and trying to find a way to improve and change the processes that we're doing to get the results we need to get so we can win.